Hello and good evening everyone, welcome back to Best in Class. Tonight, we're continuing our journey through the medium classes, specifically the 45-ton range. I'm joined as always by my partner in crime, Eddie the Ferret Hodge, who's recently returned from hosting I'm a Z-list Trivid personality in the Deep Periphery, Get Me Out of Here, Season 64. So without any more waffle, let's take a look at the contestants. The Shadow Cat. A Clan Nova Cat original and one of a rare few Clan Omnimechs to lack an Innisphere designation. The well-armed Shadow Cat is a marvel of clan engineering. Mask boosts its speed while jump jets give it the agility to quickly set up a firing position with its deadly Gauss rifle. A firm favourite to win by many of the boffins in the back. But does it have the firepower to really compete with some of the other competitors in today's episode? The Ice Ferret. The Battle Fridge. It was developed by Clan Ice Hellion and was named the Wolf Hunter because it was hilariously designed to hunt down the Clan Timberwolf. Despite that laughable start, the Ice Ferret, as it was named by Clan Wolf when they took over, or the Fenris when it appears over here in the Innisphere, is a capable medium Omnimech. Though it lacks jump jets, it can tear apart mechs bigger than itself with its ERPPC and chase down those annoying light mechs with its Streak 2 launcher and small laser. The Blackjack. Designed before the fall of the Star League, many would consider it at the time a gamble to pilot the Blackjack indeed. Based on false claims and poor press of its shoddy armour and poor foot balancing, the myth was blown away on Zosha 7 in the early 3020s in the Federated Suns and has become a regular part of their armed forces, usually in the urban warfare role. Pity about the designation though, BJ1. Rather unfortunate. The Phoenix Hawk. A true legend within the Battlemech space, the Phoenix Hawk has been around almost as long as Eddie and his mum, and is a staple of pretty much any armed force sporting a Battlemech regiment. Some may view it as an upgunned Stinger, and they're wrong of course, as the Phoenix Hawk has demonstrated time and again it can rise from the ashes as one of the premier reconnaissance battlemechs, likely never to be surpassed, but always rivaled. The Vindicator. The Capellan Confederation Armed Forces workhorse frontline battlemech. Despite all of House Lau's difficulties over the last several decades, the one thing they can always rely on was the Vindicator. With a weapon for every occasion, the Vindy, as it's affectionately called by its fans, has stood the test of time, and is certainly one of the hardest mechs to get spares for outside of their own territory. Makes it a rather rare sight outside of Lao space. Finally, the Hellspawn, the modern-day entry for the competition today. Built in the early 3060s, the Hellspawn is designed for combat in an age where the clans are an ever-present threat, and weapons technology has progressed considerably. It boasts ECM, a triple brace of medium pulse lasers, and 2 LRM-10s. It can fight at any range comfortably, and with ease. Coupled with speed and jump jets, on paper, it should be one of the front runners in today's contest. And with that out of the way, let's get over to the drag race. And here we go for the race, Eddie.
Ah, yes, the race. And I think everybody knows, or at least my fans know, that I'll be cheering on the Vindy, the Vindicator, one of my all-time favourite mechs.
Well, my choice, Eddie, is going to be the Ice Ferret.
Oh, I should have known.
The
you
Combat
and Clan.
Fridge.
The bloody Clan mechs.
Oh, it's got off to a slow start.
Oh, here we go.
Shadowcat's up ahead.
Shadowcat is absolutely... racing ahead.
Wait, a drag race, yes, that's exactly what it's doing. No, come on, Ice Ferret, yes.
Oh,
come on, power, speed. Shadowcat first, Ice Ferret second. We've got the Phoenix Hawk third there, followed closely by the Hellspawn. And the Blackjack and Vindicator bringing up the rear, although it looks like the Vindicator has finished last there, Eddie.
The Vindicator was not built for speed, my friend. Wait until later on, I think she'll pull it back.
Well, there's the standings based on the current race finish, as you can see. But that could all change now in the simulator, won't it, Eddie?
It certainly will. Yes, so now we take you over to our tame sim pilot. You know, people say he once jump-started a VLAR 300 fusion engine by attaching jump cables to his nipples.
Oof.
And that he's an incredible swimmer due to his webbed buttocks. I don't know about that, but I do know his name's Critical Rocket.
And yes, that brings us into the Shadowcat, a popular mech amongst many aficionados out there since its arrival at the Battle of Luthien in the initial clan invasion.
Ah, that's right. So this would be the somewhat infamous mech of Clan Smoke Jaguar.
Actually, a correction there, Eddie. It was built by the Nova Cats, the Smoke Jaguars, well, bitches, really, if I have to say anything during the invasion era. Yes, it was invented by them. They built it around the rather effective Gauss rifle, to be fair to them, with a pair of ER medium lasers, as shown here in the Prime variant, that are barely, Simeon, Sim Pilot Critical Rocket is demonstrating, and I use that with air quotes here, right now in this match on Grim Plexus in the simulator.
Yes. So she's fast.
Indeed.
She's agile. And she can be deadly.
Indeed. It does actually have mask equipped, but after scrubbing through the footage several times, I noticed not a single use of it by Rocket. He really is a lost cause, I do have to say. It's a mech that could benefit greatly from the use of mask, even in the simulator.
Yes, I know. I mean, that gives it that sudden burst of speed that can get it in and out of deadly range for itself or its enemies. I mean, I'm not surprised he wouldn't use it. It's probably a little bit complicated for him. I mean, it's a whole extra button.
I mean, if it isn't go forward, go back, and shoot all the things, he's relatively stuck.
Yeah, this is true. But this is an excellent mech, and beautiful to look at as well. She's incredibly well designed.
You know someone who would disagree with that opinion, Eddie?
Who?
Rocket. He dislikes it intensely. He's, I assume having any kind of long civil discourse with Rocket is very difficult, but the hand gestures, the waving, and the loud, muffled noises coming from the helmet that he seems to perpetually wear when he's outside of his sim pod would suggest that he is not a fan of the Shadowcat.
Well, that's his own ignorance coming through, isn't it? Because I think we all know the Shadowcat is one of those mechs that you underestimate at your peril.
Many a pilot has fallen afoul, including the comm guards when they first came up against it in the Battle of Tukid.
Indeed.
Yes, it was a deadly mech. And an interesting side note, as I mentioned in the intro, but for anyone who's forgotten already, some people do have goldfish memories, of course, is that the Shadowcat does not have a Inner Sphere designation. It is known as the Shadowcat within both factions.
Now that is interesting.
Yeah.
I assume that's because of during the Battle of Luthien, it's likely that certain bits of clan communications were overheard, and so the designation was immediately known.
Well, it's either that or a comm guard, one of the two. But yes, in its very brief tenure during the invasion, it was only referred to as such. Interesting little tidbit there for anyone.
Oh, that is interesting. Yes.
But of course, the person who isn't interested in any of this information is Rocket. And I get the feeling he's throwing this match because he is not using the Shadowcat at all to its strengths. Where's the agility? Where's the speed? The use of mask? And the accuracy that it's known for via its Gauss rifle?
I don't know what exactly he's doing here. I mean, I'm sure he will argue that the other simulated AIs around him were not helping him to get into the best position to make use of the weapon.
He's constantly complaining.
But a workman blames their tools, and let's face it, he's the biggest tool going.
I imagine he's there in the sim pod already, thumping on the controls, screeching like an ape with his inflamed testicles, and trying to desperately get this thing to actually work properly. I'm not sure why he's got inflamed testicles, Eddie. It's just what I've been told.
Right. Well, I don't know either. I'll leave that literally to your imagination. I don't want to know.
I really don't want that information in my head. I've said it, Eddie.
Well, you've said it. It's too late. But it looks like it may be too late for Rocket as well. Things are going very badly for him here.
It's not good. He's already lost a side torso, which is one of his very, very important ER medium lasers down. And he's looking like he's going to run afoul of the enemy soon. Oh, there it is. There's the AC fire raining down on him. And I really don't think he's got much longer left in this, Eddie.
I think he's pretty much done here, my colleague. I think he's pretty much done.
Oh, and there he goes. And just for brevity's sake, there is a quick edit here to show the score. But it's a bit of a poor result, I have to say. It wasn't a win, obviously. With 140 damage, 145 in the match score, no kills, surprise, surprise, for a rather poor score of 10 points. bringing him up to a total, with his race finish for the Shadowcat, to 22.
Can't believe it.
Nope.
But it's there for us all to see.
There it is. And now we take it over to my personal pick, the Battle Fridge, the Ice Ferret.
I should have known.
The Ice Box.
Should have known.
The ice... The ice danger, yes. Anyway, it's my pick. I think it's going to win. I mean, a better win, or else Rocket's definitely going to get lamped in the side of the head.
Uh-huh.
That's all I'm saying, Eddie.
Yeah, well, it's a ferret.
Well, it's a bit... Well, just because your nickname's the Ferret, Hodge.
I mean, if it wins, then it's because it's got my nickname. If it loses, it's because you chose it.
Well, you were only nicknamed the Ferret because of your wiliness in the Solaris arenas in your short tenure.
And I generally went for lighter, faster mechs, yes, and they said I ferreted my way through this battle and the next. And it stuck, but it doesn't change the fact that this is the Ice Ferret, and Ferret is, as you know, my name.
Well, it's also known as the Fenris in the Inner Sphere, so I prefer to call it the Fenris.
I think some people would happily call me the Fenris.
I really don't think anyone would call you Fenris.
Eddie the Fenris Hodge.
No, I'm not seeing it. I think the Ferret is a much better name for you, Eddie. But regardless, we're still in the 45 ton here, in the second clan mech of our menagerie for today's episode. There would have actually been an extra contender, you know, Eddie. For a time, I did consider bringing in my own personal pet project, the Hatchet Man.
Oh, I've been very much enjoying watching your short burst communications, showing off the latest repairs.
Oh, the restoration,
that you've been doing.
yes.
I think a lot of us have been enjoying that, and I'm looking forward to finally seeing the girl in person.
Well, I'm hoping to take her out into the field one day, just maybe to join a unit that's going around battering some pirates. I'd love to give the hatchet a good old use on that old girl. But yes, I was considering bringing it into BIC and letting the boffins scan it and put it into the simulator software, but then I realised that did I really want Rocket even getting close to a digital facsimile of my Hatchet Man? And I really didn't want to. I mean, that thing was found on the outer edges of the Turian Concordat space as it was an SLDF unit that had actually been downed by Turian uprising members when they broke away from the Star League way back when.
Way back when, indeed.
And yeah, I just couldn't reckon the idea of having Rocket piloting a Hatchet Man. It just really didn't sit well with me, especially my Hatchet Man, even a digital one. So it would need to be cleaned. So I decided against it. So we're just having the 6 in the 45 ton range. And how is the Fenris doing? Well, let's see. He's certainly playing up to the wiliness of the Ferret name, moving around a lot. So he has taken a bit of damage though, but it looks like he's going on some kind of flanking mission here with the rest of his fast-moving brethren.
Yeah, not a bad idea. The Ferret, sorry.
The Fenrit.
The Fenrit, yes, the Fenrit. The Ferret, my namesake. What? If I was going to choose a clan mech, and I wouldn't, don't worry fans, I'm staying pure Inner Sphere all the way, but if I did, obviously it'd be the Ferret, but he's actually using her reasonably well. He's using her speed and her firepower to some...
Oh, and they've jumped a direwolf.
Yes, and look at that direwolf just doesn't know which way he's going to turn, because his firepower is obviously terrifying, but look at that, Rocket can just maneuver past him and round him.
Yeah, see, the direwolf simulator there, it screwed up, and it put it way out of position, a bad position for it to be in, and it's just been picked apart, and there it goes, destroyed very, very easily, very quickly, and very succinctly as well. Yes,
just proof that these assault mechs are all well and good, but you don't go wandering around on your own when light mechs are jumping about.
No, despite claims that an Atlas could easily hold off wave after wave of Wasp and Stinger, the truth of the matter is that enough firepower will bring down even the largest behemoth on the battlefield. And that's been proven time and again via historical fact, and as shown here in the simulator, just because you're in a 100-ton mech with more guns doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to knock them out one after the other.
Well, piece of realistic portrayal here by the ancient AI system, showing that sometimes assault pilots were known to get a little bit too full of themselves. Surrounded by that literally tens of tons, nearly 100 tons of metal around you, can give you that sort of sense of a godlike superiority.
I don't need 100 tons to feel that, Eddie. I just know I am already.
Well, if you say so, old friend. If you say so.
My record in the arena is spotless.
Oh, that tastes so damn good. I'm, of course, drinking the new coolant light, and this one has a hint of lemon. And it tastes absolutely fantastic. That's coolant light.
Rocket's going to get a wrench across the side of the head as the ice ferret is now down, and I'm very disappointed. Well,
I think he did reasonably well in it.
He certainly did better than he did in the Shadow Cat, that has to be said.
That's true, that's true.
As preliminary Boffin's results came in, that his damage was, well, far in excess, 277, which is much more impressive. But we'll have to see what the match score is to see. He didn't score a kill, but it does look like his team's about to win, so that'll count, extra points there.
Well, the fact that he scored at least 50% more damage than the Shadow Cat certainly shows something. But then again, it is Critical Rocket.
Well, yeah, he'll take what he can get. And that's it, it's over. The Ice Ferret was on the winning team at least, despite the fact that Rocket did not survive. But he did end up with a match score of 200 exact, so that's an extra 10 points on top of the over 10 points on that damage, and then a win, a bonus 5. 25 points in total, not bad.
Well done, Ferret.
Okay, we roll over now to one of my favourite maps in the simulator, Caustic Valley.
Yes, I'm wildly aware that you particularly like this one. I can't think why.
Unfortunately, me and Rocket share this love of this map, and I'm not quite sure why Rocket likes it as much as he does. He just does.
Well, let's think. It's sulphurous, it's alien, it has an atmosphere that will melt you.
What?
It's dark and dreary. Yes, I can see it. I can see it.
Yes. You think you're very funny. You think you're very funny, Eddie.
Stop sulking, my colleague. Let's start talking about something a little bit brighter.
The Blackjack.
The Blackjack.
Yes, here it is, the unfortunately named BJ1.
Oh, we used to make jokes about that back in the ancient days of my youth.
Yes, yeah.
I'm afraid back then, I was one of those young fools who still thought the Blackjack had its, well, was an infamous mech not to be trusted.
Well, we all did, Eddie. We were taken in by the false reports from centuries back now that the old Blackjack suffered from notoriously brittle armour and poor foot padding.
Yes, the stories went that too many hits and the Blackjack would easily topple, and that its armour, unfortunately, if heated to enough temperature, would start to just tear itself apart. Well, you didn't want to go too near to too many laser weapons.
Oh no, it sounds almost as bad as the Whitworth.
Yes.
The worthless.
But it turns out that that's been proven wrong, hasn't it? Unfortunately, our friends in the Fedcom over in Davian space have proven that that's not the case. Although, try telling the Lao forces that.
Well, the Capellans are very, very hard-headed and stubborn, and it's rare that they'll ever really concede to any kind of change or fact.
I know it. I had an argument with a equivalent to one of their lieutenants about 3 years ago about the whole matter, and he would not accept the information I brought to him. After all, as he said, it was from the Federated Suns, and he had been convinced by his people that this was to trick them into thinking that the Blackjack was a frontline mech worthy of their attention.
Yes, well, you can't teach an old Capellan dog new tricks, but what we can see here is that Rocket's actually doing a half-decent job here with the AC-2s, rounding out the fire support role which the Blackjack was originally intended for. As his heavier compatriots are taking the fight to the enemy, he's just there, plinking away, doing little bits of damage and just, well, generally frustrating the simulator opponents that he's against.
Yes, it's those AC-2s. There's a lot of people who malign them. Little damage, and obviously the ammo situation. But if used correctly, as he is doing here as a support mech, this mech really does come into its own. He has a range that outstrips even an LRM with these things, and if you can bring them to bear properly, you can really be an excellent support mech for your team. Or real world forces, should I say.
Well, yes, general realistic lance setup, the Blackjack works perfectly in large open field engagements, and obviously in urban combat centres. Its 4 medium lasers are a good backup. I'd say the only real problem the Blackjack suffers from is that it doesn't really have the capability to maintain its heat levels.
It doesn't have quite the punch that some of the other medium mechs have, yes. That killer punch, but then she was never built for that. She was built to be a support mech, and in that role, as I say, she is excellent. But those 4 medium lasers can run a little hot, I would agree. But then you've got those AC2s, and they produce virtually no heat at all. I mean, they're just barely a step up heat-wise from a Gauss rifle.
Yes, although if I had to pick the two, I would actually probably go with the AC2s. There's something about being able to rapidly fire ballistic shells at enemies. Don't get me wrong, Gauss rifles do make some very particularly pretty holes in opponents after action, but there's something about just raining death at that range of the AC2 that really makes it just a joy to fire, and many manufacturers, I think, have found different ways of just making your use of the weapon that much more enjoyable.
Yes, I totally agree. And even though she doesn't have that heavy punch weapon, once some of those big boys have opened up a few spots in some of the enemy, those weapons can start to cause some considerable internal damage.
It's one of the great strengths of the autocannon too, is that it can very rapidly knock out important systems, life support, jump jets, even cooking off ammunition that hasn't been used and causing some catastrophic explosions within. Yes, I've seen a lot of good footage on the old Trivids of many a mech explosion due to such internal damage, and it's quite a fireworks display.
It certainly is, terrifying to behold, and, deadly for the pilot, because most of our Innosphere mechs are still unequipped with the case unit, which is still a relatively new piece of tech to us in the Innosphere.
Though it was old tech back in the days of the
It was. It's been around for a while now, but there's a lot of mechs out there that still haven't had the chance to have those upgrades, unless you're fortunate to be one of those frontline mechs for one of the great houses.
The great house units, yes, will generally have them, but if you're a mercenary or just somebody who's working in the rough and tumble Solaris arenas, it is a difficult piece of tech to get your hands on.
Or a rear guard unit that just doesn't get it gets the hand-me-down mechs that haven't been upgraded. Yes.
It's true. Of course, clan mechs, on the other hand, don't really have a worry of this because case is standard within all of their designs.
It certainly is. And it looks like we're coming to the end of this particular one.
Chasing
down that final mech.
It's a Shadow Cat, eerie.
Yes,
there he goes, straight through the air. Oh, he blew something off him.
Yes, that was a good shot.
And in this version of the simulator match, this is an incursion. Both teams have a base, and basically Rocket's taking an opportunity to shoot the base building while the rest of his team hunt down that wily Shadow Cat. But I think it's pretty much considered to be an end. I've just...
there she goes.
Getting a thumbs up from the boffins here that the match is about to finish, and they're going to send us the results. And I've got a feeling it's going to be a good result here, Eddie.
Well, let's see.
So, let's see. Damage was 397.
Wow.
Hair off an extra
5.
It was a win. And 330 match score gives it a grand total of 35 points.
Wow. Now, if that doesn't prove to, including the Capellans, that this is a great mech, I don't know what does. And so, the Phoenix Hawk. One of the absolute greats of the Innosphere, and one of the absolute best in its class. I mean, well, what can you say about a Phoenix Hawk that isn't great? She looks good, she moves fast, for her size.
Oh, yes.
And she can hit hard with that large laser. Those mediums and those machine guns as backup. She is truly a beautiful mech to behold. So good, even the clans have decided to keep her.
Yes, close to perfection, as many would say. I did say in the introduction that never surpassed but always rivaled is the Phoenix Hawk, and for good reason. She's definitely something of a measuring stick for many designs. If it's as good as the Phoenix Hawk, then it's probably a good design to put out on production lines.
She certainly is. She certainly is. In fact, me and my colleague have a bit of a rivalry where the Phoenix Hawk is concerned. Do you want to tell them about that, my friend?
Well, it started about 5 years ago when we both managed to get our hands on rare parts for a Phoenix Hawk 1B, the old Royal Unit version. And ever since then, we've both been competing to try and get ourselves a completed 1B model. It's been quite a hunt, and we're both getting close, but I feel, Eddie, through the contacts I've been making recently, I'm probably going to get that 1B finished before your good self.
I know you've already pipped me to the post with a recent purchase, that lower left arm components you acquired, what was that, 4 months ago?
Oh,
we both tried to get it, but you pipped me to the post with that one.
I did probably spend a lot more than I was intending. You did push the price up on that one, Eddie, I do have to admit.
I really thought I was going to get that. I was offering too much, but you offered even more too much.
Yes, 1.4 million C-bills for a part of an actuator assembly, but it was worth it. It was worth it. I had the correct serial numbers. I tracked them down. I knew the one I was going after. I got it.
No, you went for it. You went for it. It's true. Both of us have said for years we would love to have one of the original designs in our
Royal Star League. It's
Royal.
One of the true greats for any collector out there. If you do have any parts lying around,
please let me know.
Contact
know.
Us, not you,
me
Eddie.
know.
I'm the host of the show.
Yes,
You're
if
the co-host.
you let me know,
No,
I'll offer
Eddie,
you an excellent price.
No,
What?
Eddie,
What?
no.
What?
Did you notice before that the joke that the boffins had put into the sim?
I'm afraid I didn't.
Oh, they put it in that one of the AI said that they were a fan of his.
He didn't fall for that, did he?
He responded
as if they were a real person.
Yes. I haven't the heart to tell him really that these are.
No. Let him think he actually has fans. I know that there's a few of the ladies in the food department who occasionally listen to some of his stuff, and I'm told that sometimes they even write in little messages of pretending to be his genuine fans. He seems happy enough with it.
Wow, tiny things, tiny minds, really, isn't it? Well, here comes the Phoenix Hawk going one-on-one with a king crab.
Wow. Now, if he survives this, ladies and gentlemen, this really tells you everything you need to know about the Phoenix Hawk.
I'm sure those inflamed balls are giving him a huge boost in confidence.
Did you have to bring that back up again?
Well, once you see them,
I might
can't
bring
really
something up in a minute. Jeez.
Well, once you see
Please,
it,
Eddie.
you can't really unsee it.
Please, Eddie, that's me. That's how bloody upsetting this is.
It's confused you, Eddie. I understand.
Oh, please don't do this to me, my colleague.
He tagged everybody. It said at McCracken, at Hodge, at Boffin.
I don't read anything that comes from him. Why do you?
Well, sometimes he might have some important information.
He has no important information.
Well, that picture definitely was not important. But the Phoenix Hawk has won. He got a kill at the end. And for a grand total, as the boffins are punching in the numbers and sending them to the screen any time now, as soon as the stupid little piece of music finishes. There we go, 322 damage, not as much as the blackjack, but the kill, the win, and 300 match score gives it a rather respectable 40 points. Well, we roll over to the Vindicator. The Vindy, as it's known by its adoring fans.
Yes, and I am definitely one of them.
Yes, this is your pick to win, isn't it, Eddie?
It certainly is. I've long had a love of the Vindy. She's one of the first mechs I ever had a chance to pilot in real life. When I was only quite a young scrapper at the time, my father owned one, and she was an old workhorse. A little bit stripped down, but functional.
Yeah.
He used, as you know, my father used to train mech pilots, and it's one of the first mechs I have had my own training in, and I've kind of had a soft spot for her ever since.
Well, that explains your like of slow, plodding machines, of course. The Vindicator is not known for its speed.
No, she's not, but You know what she is known for? She's known as a workhorse. She's known as one of those mechs that can take a beating and keep on fighting back.
She is a trooper for the Capellan Confederation, almost exclusively found within the Lao borders. Mech that's seen countless conflicts against both House Marek, periphery states, and its hated enemy, the Federated Suns, and spare parts are nigh on impossible to get for this mech outside of the Capellan Confederation.
Which is true, which is why... well, as I said, my father's own mech was a bit stripped down and just used as a trainer. But over the years, I have managed to get my hands on a couple of them. They do turn up on Solaris, as you know. Different mercenary groups know that the Vindy, as you said, she's a slow mech, but she's capable.
Well, that PPC is definitely the good punch that you need, especially in the 45-ton range. It's pretty effective. Bolstered by a medium and a small laser for short-range engagements, and an LRM-5 for harassment fire as she closes in.
Yeah, she's a great little mech. Obviously the PPC runs hot, but she's a heavy hitter, and even assault mechs don't like being hit by the old PPC much.
No, that's why the Vindicator is used in such large numbers by the Capellans. It's cheap, quick to manufacture, and enough PPC fire will pretty much bring down any target if it's stupid enough to stand out in the open like that.
Yeah, that's true. As I'm sure our listeners are all aware, obviously PPCs are a difficult item to find in Marek space, so Vindy, even though they occasionally get their hands on them from fights with the Lyrans, are very rarely seen in combat there, and if they do capture one with a PPC, it's usually stripped off so it can be used in some of their other larger, more better known mechs.
Well, the Mareks generally have a lot of issues with their PPC, as you say. A lot of large lasers in House Marek space. It's a good place to pick them up cheap, that's for sure.
And what exactly is going on here? The AI seems to just be filtering away. I could almost argue they're fighting in the wrong place, Vindy.
Yes, referencing ancient Terran cinema, as they called it back then.
Well, we love that stuff. Yes, cinemas.
Yeah. Now, Trivids.
Trivids.
That's the way to go.
Yes.
You haven't really experienced a movie like Naked Gun, unless you've seen it in full 3D, where you can interact with it in a Trivid setting. But that said, I was informed by the boffins that there was a glitch, and the artificial intelligence basically went, his words, madder than a wax banana. And, well, Rocket's dead, but then there's a shock.
The poor Vindy didn't win.
He's not done the Vindicator justice, I feel, for you there, Eddie.
Well, hopefully he's done enough damage. This is a good mech. Well, the AI went a little schizo there, and a bunch of them went running off for reasons I can't quite imagine. And then, as you say, some of the AI started shouting at itself.
Yes, it does. The AI program.
Pox on your house, I believe it said. Yes, whatever the hell that means.
The Caldec.exe program sometimes does have a little bit of an issue with an attitude, and that it also generates a Scrabble bag of insults and phrases that it throws at it. They are working on a new version of Caldec, but hopefully we'll see an improvement in the future.
The 2.0.
The 2.0 Caldec, yeah.
I don't think they'll bother, frankly.
No, probably not.
Well, it looks like this match is coming to an end, our final mech there.
Yeah, it's being torn apart here by a heavy medium laser linebacker, and there we go. That's the end. As we get the results in, the boffins are giving me the thumbs up, which always confuses me.
Scores on the doors. What have we got?
The Vindicator did a grand total of 206 damage. It's not the worst, but it's not the best. It was just shy of 200 match score, 196, but it did get a win, which gives it a grand total of 20 points, Eddie.
Not as good as I'd have hoped.
No, never is with Rocket. And last but, well, probably least, we've got the Hellspawn.
Yes, the Hellspawn. Well, she's a new one, isn't she? I mean, pretty much almost as new as that Shadow Cat we showed right at the beginning.
Yes, the Hellspawn is designed in the early 3060s as a call for the Federated Commonwealth to create a mech that could compete or possibly even replace the venerable Dervish.
Yes, the Dervish, obviously a long-standing and well-respected mech. But does this really replace her?
I don't know. At 10 tons less, it seems like it's quite a call. It's almost like trying to design something to replace the Timberwolf, like, say, the linebacker. It was never really going to do the job. And as such, I feel personally it's probably set up to fail. It's still got time, obviously, to prove us wrong, but I just don't really see the Dervish being replaced by something like this. Equipped with a trio of medium pulse lasers and a pair of LRM-10s, it certainly can be effective at all ranges. The boffins have got one of those cat sound things on their phone again.
Yeah, again. And that Guardian ECM will obviously keep some of the incoming fire off her. As you said, she is lighter though, and that saves money. But
it does. This boffin with the phone. Can you get out of the room, boffin? There he goes.
But I don't know whether she's had enough battlefield experience yet for people to be able to say yay or nay on her success or failure. But clearly Davian have put a lot of money into its design and build, and they have rolled them out to several of their frontline units. So Davian has certainly put a lot of...
those and the Steiners as well, and
put a lot of trust in her, yes.
Yes, the jump jets are also another factor of it. 97 kph as well, it's fast. It's got power in that respect, and I can respect that. I also don't mind the asymmetrical design. Sometimes it's nice to have something that looks a little bit different on the field, and the Hellspawn is certainly something I'm keeping my eye on for a possible future purchase, maybe when there's a discount that comes out from certain outlets.
Well, the Davians, who obviously build this mech and share quite a few of them with the Steiners, so far aren't exactly selling these things to your local merc units. So for the moment, outside of their own units and those captured in any...
I've got contact, Eddie, I've got contact.
Lost in skirmishes, as you said, that may be left on a battlefield. But other than that, your chance of getting hold of one of them at the moment, at least to any extent, is probably relatively low. But she is a relatively new mech, so let's give her time. But she is starting to be seen in some of the battles with the clans. I've not read too many reports about it, but she seems to be at least holding her own. But then, against clan tech, it's difficult for any Innisphere mech to hold their own.
Well, it remains to be seen, but speaking of someone who's low and not really particularly skilled, there's Rocket, and he's having a tough one here with the Hellspawn, I'd say.
Well, if there's anyone who's used to holding their own, it's Rocket.
Especially with those inflamed testicles, oh god.
You have to keep bringing that up.
I can't unsee them, Eddie.
I don't want to ever see them, to unsee them. Just don't bring it up.
No, it's here on the
phone. No, I'm not looking.
It's right there. They're right there, Eddie. Eddie.
We're trying to do a show here, man. Be professional, my colleague. Be professional. Stop it. Just put it away.
Such a shade of orange.
Oh, I don't want to know. Well, that is one of his favourite colours. But, yes, he's having a hard time here. The medium pulse he's making some use of, but I don't really feel that he's making much use of those LRMs. Not as much as he could have done.
No, certainly not. And I don't know whether it was just a case that maybe he was just poorly positioned, or his AI teammates just did all the work and he was just running around, screaming incoherently and just firing whatever just crossed his path, to be honest.
Yeah, it could just be that this is a mech he's never really made much use of in the simulators. But we've come to an end.
Yes, the Hellspawn was on a winner, so that's an extra 5. The damage from the boffins here, again, yes, no kills, with a 166 damage is what they're telling me.
Pretty low.
Yes, 200 match score flat, giving him 20 points in total. And then we'll be rolling over to the scoreboard, Eddie. And so just before we roll over into the Grand Melee to finish it all off, the scoreboard as it stands now, the Phoenix Hawk top with 48, the Blackjack second with 39, the Ice Ferret third with 35, the Hellspawn with 26, followed up by the Vindicator and Shadowcat fighting for 5th, essentially, at 22 points each. But it could all change here in the Grand Melee.
The Grand Melee.
Well, with that, your choice is obviously to win. This is going to be the Vindicator.
Certainly is, as I've said earlier. One of the first mech I ever piloted. And we're straight in.
Yes, no waiting around for this one as the competitors from the mean streets of Solaris there, with 3 Mr. Bigs watching this one because there was just too much madness.
Yes, we're out in the outer sticks of Solaris here, areas that most of you would never dare tread in, and I assure you, you never should.
No, definitely not.
The outer reaches.
And we've already got a death, and it's the Shadowcat. Brought low by the Hellspawn.
Well, poor Shadowcat. And the Hellspawn, I guess, proving itself after what we just said a few minutes ago.
Well, it's effective, at least, I guess, in a close-up brawl of this nature, and as we zoom around here, we're trying to keep all of the action in camera view, but we've got the Phoenix Hawk just going completely mad with those machine guns, harassing the Ice Ferret there, which, I don't know, I like the Phoenix Hawk, but I'm a little bit perturbed about my choice getting basically worn down. This is just doesn't sit well with me here, Eddie.
Well, the Phoenix Hawk here, favourite of both of ours, is doing pretty well. Dishing out that damage. I mean, those constant fire from those machine guns slowly stripping away at that armour, and if they do strip that armour, those internals will start to really suffer
they will
quick.
pop very quickly.
So that continuing fire.
So the Phoenix Hawk, they're harassing the Ice Ferret. The clan mechs are not performing that well here in this Grand Melee. I
think that the pilots, they know that those clan mechs can be a bit of a trouble, and they're putting their firepower into it, but they're shooting each other quite a lot too.
Well, the Ice Ferret appears to have walked off from the fight, so I'm assuming he's out.
I'm not quite sure what the rules are with that. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to stay and fight to the death.
I don't know if the Mr. Biggs... I guess they've made the decision on that regard. But the fight continues as we have the next fall there as the Blackjack is killed by the Phoenix Hawk.
Blackjack, yes, proved to be quite a nasty mech during the other fights, even with someone as inept as critical rocket piloting, and yet somehow it's just not weathered the storm here.
Our two best performances from the Blackjack and the Phoenix Hawk. I guess it only fits that the Phoenix Hawk would be the one that would kill the Blackjack in the end.
Yes.
Asserting its dominance.
I guess so. But nasty little melee.
The Phoenix Hawk now being attacked from both sides. Can it survive this fight?
As much as I love the Phoenix Hawk, I'm not sure. The Vindy, of course, my choice.
The Phoenix Hawk kills the Phoenix Hawk.
Well, there you go.
No one can defeat the Phoenix Hawk except for itself.
Apparently so. But my Vindy is still in there and fighting hard.
Oh, yes, it's down to that in the Hellspawn. And the Hellspawn is keeping... Oh, it's taken out.
She pops, but she did well.
She did well, and I guess effectively that does mean, Eddie, that you've chosen well, at least for the Grand Melee, that the Vindicator wins this small victory.
I told you she's a hardy little thing, and that she can take a beating, and that in a real-world battle, she's the mech to go for.
Yes.
But you've got to admit, though, that Phoenix Hawk...
As both of our choices there basically ended up first and second in the Grand Melee.
Yeah, I think you're slightly cheating to make yours second. She's been stood on the sidelines with no weapons.
It hasn't died yet. I mean, despite the fact that the Vindicator is lobbing LRM-5 fire at it indiscriminately, just very slowly
I think
wearing
you're just
it down.
desperately trying to prove something that's just not true.
I mean, I won't say that the points don't speak for themselves here, but the Vindicator will definitely get a bonus 15 for obviously winning here of the Grand Melee.
Of course it will. But you know, it's weird. After watching the fights, I just find myself coming back to the Phoenix Hawk.
Yes, after all that, the Phoenix Hawk is actually the one that I would definitely choose if I had to pick any of these mechs as a favourite.
You know, even though the Vindy holds a very special place in my heart...
Oh, the Mr. Big's tearing him apart.
I can't watch this.
That's the victory.
I can't watch
That's
this.
what happens when you win, Eddie. You get torn apart by Mr. Big.
But at the end of the day, if I was to be asked what mech would I suggest, and the scores will prove it, I think, it's the Phoenix Hawk.
Phoenix Hawk stands tall there with 48 points, followed by the Blackjack with 39. Moving up to third place is the Vindicator, followed closely by the Ice Ferret with 35, and the Hellspawn there at 26, and rounding it out with a mere 12 is the Shadow Cat. And on that, Long Tom, good night.
Good night.
And another BIC finish. Thank you everybody who helped me for the recording. As always, thank you to Davros Dalek, Mighty Kulsh, Blake Malone, Small Fry, Digamf, Kiro Haas, Grumpy Bear, Sumitha Devin, and Satan's Pooper. Thank you all for helping out. As always, it's a lot of fun putting these together, a lot of fun recording these. I hope you all enjoy them as well. We'll be getting down to the 50-tonners next, and yeah, I'm hoping for some surprise in that one. Until then, have a good one. Bye.